A lot of writers hear the term book coach and think, okay, but what does that actually mean, and do I need one? I'm excited to talk about this topic today because I myself am a book coach with a certification in fiction from Author Accelerator. And I love what I do. I've personally witnessed the incredible transformation writers can experience when they have the right support. But in this video, I want to talk about both sides. Why you might want to hire a book coach and why you might not. But I want to be transparent right up front that yes, of course, there's some bias here because I genuinely love this work and I believe in it. At the same time, I also know that the term book coach can feel vague or mysterious if you've never worked with one before. So my goal in this video is to demystify it. By the end, you should have a much clearer sense of what a book coach actually does, what a book coach is not, who it tends to benefit the most, and how to decide whether it's worth it for you or not. So let's start with why this term is so confusing in the first place, because writers hear a lot of different words thrown around. There's editor, critique partner, writing teacher, writing group, course creator, coach, or mentor. So from the outside, it can all start to sound kind of like the same kind of support, maybe with slightly different branding. But these things are not all solving the same problem. And on top of that, one of the biggest reasons book coaching feels confusing is that book coaches can offer different kinds of services. So one book coach may focus heavily on story development and structure, like me. Another may focus more on accountability and helping you stay on track, where another might specialize in revision or help with pitch materials. So even when two people use the same title, they may not be offering the exact same kind of support. So don't worry if you might be feeling a little unsure. I promise this video is going to be helpful for you. And first I'm going to start with what a book coach actually is. A book coach is someone knowledgeable in storytelling, genre, publishing, goal setting, and the emotional realities of the writing process, and someone who helps writers achieve their goals through guidance, structure, feedback, and accountability. A book coach helps you take something that feels huge and overwhelming and break it into steps that feel manageable so that you can reach your goals. Typically, I see most writers are not struggling because they're lazy or untalented. They're struggling because they have so many moving parts to hold at once. You have the story idea, the character arc, the world building, the plot, the tension, the pacing, the drafting process, the revision process, and then layered on all of that, you have your confidence, your consistency, your doubt, and the realities of your actual life. When all of those things start colliding, it can become incredibly difficult to tell what the right next step is. And that's where coaching can be so helpful. A good book coach helps you create clarity when everything feels tangled. They help you zoom out and see the big picture and then break that big picture into smaller pieces that you can actually work with. Writing is an emotional process. It can be lonely, deeply vulnerable, and surprisingly easy to derail with perfectionism, self-doubt, avoidance, or the awful feeling of like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. A coach can't take all of that away for you, but they can help you move through it with more steadiness and a lot less confusion. So what is not a book coach? A book coach is not the same thing as a class because a class usually gives the same material to everyone. Coaching is much more tailored. It responds to your specific book, your process, your roadblocks, your goals, and the stage of writing that you're actually in. A book coach is also not the same thing as a critique group. Critique groups can be wonderful, and for some writers, they're a really valuable part of the process. But they also tend to give you multiple opinions, mixed levels of experience, and feedback that may or may not align with what your particular book needs. Coaching is generally more strategic, more focused, and more consistent over time. And a book coach is definitely not there to write the book for you. This still is your work, your voice, your story, and your responsibility. A coach is not there to make the process effortless. They're there to help you navigate the process with more clarity, more intention, and often a lot less wasted energy. So who tends to benefit most from a book coach? Usually it's writers who feel overwhelmed by the scope of what they're trying to do. Writers who keep starting and stalling, or who second guess themselves so much that they struggle to build momentum. Writers who are too close to the manuscript to see what's actually going wrong, or who knows deep down they would make better progress with expert guidance and accountability, rather than trying to piece together random advice from 100 different places. Sometimes it's the writer who has already started 3 different versions and keeps getting lost in the middle. And sometimes it's the writer with a full draft who can tell something isn't working, but has no idea how to fix it. The right support is not about whether you're good enough to write a book, because, spoiler alert, everyone who wants to write a book has the ability to learn how to write a book. But it is about whether support would help you move through the process in a stronger, clearer, and more sustainable way. Now, as I mentioned, book coaches can specialize in a lot of different stages of the process. I typically work with writers just starting out with an idea or are in the early, messy drafting stages. If this is where you're at in the process, I have a really exciting tool I designed to help you and give you a taste of the kind of coaching I provide. It's called Fiction Flow for Otherworldly Stories. And it's for fantasy, sci-fi, and horror writers who want to stop feeling lost in their writing process. Inside, I walk you through how to build your story foundation so you can leave with a clear step-by-step plan to outline and draft your novel. It's a video training series and includes templates and tools to help you apply what you're actually learning. And I'm offering a 50% discount with the coupon code COACH50. This coupon will be good for 2 weeks after the published date of this video. Now, you may also be wondering, who probably doesn't need a book coach right now? Some writers already have a strong process and feel confident in their work. They know how to plan, draft, problem solve, revise, and keep going without a lot of outside support. They may already have enough clarity and enough momentum to keep moving forward well on their own. And in that case, coaching may not be the best fit. But I would say the element I see most often with those who may not need a coach is that they're actually not ready to be coached. Not everyone is at a stage where they have the willingness to evaluate their process honestly. So I try to encourage people to consider, are you in a coachable mindset? Are you ready for feedback? Are you open to being challenged? Because coaching works best when a writer is actually willing to engage with that process. You don't have to agree with every piece of feedback, and you absolutely do not need to turn your manuscript into someone else's vision. But if you're in a place where any outside input feels threatening, or you already know you're not ready to hear where the book may need work, then coaching may not be the best fit. And that's okay. That's useful information about where you are right now and what kind of support would actually serve you. We all approach the creative process differently, which brings us to the real question people are asking. It's not just, what is a book coach, but is it actually worth paying for? And my honest answer is that it depends on your values, your goals, and how you work best. I'll use a non-writing example. So I pay a personal trainer to work with me once a week. Now, could I cobble together workouts on my own? Yeah, of course. The internet exists. I could find routines, piece together a plan, and probably make some progress. But I know myself well enough to know that I reach my goals much more slowly when I'm trying to figure everything out alone. And I tend to do better with accountability, an expert guiding me, and I know I spend less time wasting energy on what to do next, and I can channel my energy toward my goals. Does everyone who's in shape have a personal trainer? No, of course not. Just like every writer doesn't have a book coach. It just means I know what helps me follow through. And writing is really similar. For me, that investment is also about my values. My health really matters to me. I want to be strong, I want to feel good, and I want to be able to go hiking and do the things I love. So spending money on that kind of support feels worth it. And writing can work the same way. If you're a casual hobby writer and you're genuinely happy just exploring your own pace, then book coaching may not be worth the investment for you. But if you have publishing goals that feel really important to you and you want help reaching them more intentionally, then it may be. So spending your time assessing your values and goals in the writing space can be really helpful. And in terms of how people work best, some writers genuinely thrive when they have structure, support, accountability, and expert guidance. They make faster progress, make clearer decisions, spend less time spiraling, and stay with the book for longer. For those writers, coaching can absolutely be worth it. For other writers, independence is part of what makes the process fun. They want to experiment, wander, figure things out for themselves, and build their process that way. And that can totally be valid too. So these are the questions I'd be asking yourself. What are your goals? What do you value in your writing life? What kind of support actually helps you finish things? Are you trying to move faster, get unstuck, build a stronger process, reduce overwhelm, or stop cobbling together disconnected advice from all over the place? Do you want more clarity and consistency than you currently have? And are you someone who tends to do better when you have accountability and expert guidance? What I never want is for writers to feel pressured into hiring support because it sounds impressive or because they think real writers are supposed to invest in certain things. That's not the point. The point is finding the right kind of support for the stage you're in. So to wrap this up, a book coach helps writers with clarity, structure, momentum, feedback, and accountability, but the exact support can vary from one coach to another. Whether it's worth it really comes down to fit, your process, goals, your budget, your values, your openness to feedback, and the kind of support that helps you do your best work. I love book coaching. I really do. And I've seen what can happen when writers stop trying to do every single part of this alone and start getting the kind of support that actually helps them move forward. But I also think it's completely okay if you watch this and realize, not yet, or even not for me. More than anything, I hope this made the book coaching profession feel a little less mysterious. And as a reminder, if you do want a taste of how I coach, check out Fiction Flow for otherworldly stories at xplovecat.com/fictionflow. And also, if you have questions or you're trying to figure out whether this is a right fit for you, feel free to email me as well, and I'd be happy to help you out. Thank you for watching and happy writing.